The Lithuanian tech scene is booming, and that attracts a lot of foreign companies who build their competence centers here in Lithuania. The country is especially popular among Dutch tech companies, and we have already notable names such as Centric, Maca and Bird operating from the country as we speak. The question is, why is Lithuania so popular among foreign and in particularly Dutch tech companies? We're going to answer this question today with a man who brought Centric to Lithuania. Welcome, Paulius.
Nice to meet you, Adrian.
So you're quite well known for the work that you've been doing with Centric. You built up one of the largest IT hubs, or at least Dutch IT hubs here in the country in Lithuania. But before it came to that point, Paulius, can you take us through how that came to be and what your career looked like up until that point?
Sure. I would say that I always explain to people that ask question about me. I said I have bachelor's in law, but I'm a curious person. So in my life, I was involved in healthcare business, in consultancy, and through Centric journey to the technology part. And currently, I'm involved in family business, in medical device distribution business in the Baltic countries.
All right, and you actually, by the time that you got involved with Centric, you were having your own healthcare business at that point of time as well, and you sold it, or at least the majority of it at first, to Centric. Well, in the Netherlands, we know Centric as a managed services provider, so we know it mostly from the IT point of view. So how did Centric get involved with your healthcare business in Norway?
Correctly. It was an interesting journey, Like in 2014, I established a nursing staffing company in Norway with the idea to bring more healthcare workers to Norway from Lithuania and Spain. But in some public tenders, I met a company called Centric here, and I didn't know even that it was one of the biggest IT companies from the Netherlands. But later on, I understood that Centric is IT company worldwide, but at that time they had acquired staffing companies in Norway, and they had Centric Finance, Centric IT, Centric here. So how I met them, we were competing, my staffing company was competing with Centric here, staffing company in Norway. And at some point, first stage was we were competing, stage two, we started to collaborate, and then at some point we saw that there is a need to merge. And then I got an offer from Centric Care Management at that time in the Nordics that they would like to acquire 51% of the stake in my company. And from there, it was like coincidence that one of the management people from the Nordics connected me with the current, at that time, CEO of Centric Netherlands. We met, we talked, and at some point, through the discussions I was involved, they explained that they're looking for the competence center in Europe. At that time, they had Centric Romania, and we started, communication with them.
Yeah, in a quite short period of time, you were able to build up the competence center in Kaunas, the second city of the country, to around 100 people. But can you give a little bit of a description as of what you were doing exactly at the competence center here in Lithuania, or what is still happening at that center, and how the whole setup of the company went?
I can even a little bit give a short story behind that. At that time, when I met the current CEO of Centric, at that time, they were looking for a new place to establish competence center, and they had a group of management people from Centric going to Portugal, if I remember correct, to different countries of Europe, but they didn't have Lithuania as a spot.
Right, gotcha.
And since I sold my care staffing company, I said, guys, I'm from Lithuania. Since we have a shareholder agreement for 3 years, maybe visit Lithuania. I can show what kind of environment we have in Lithuania, and let's discuss about possibility to put Lithuania on the list of countries you will do choice. And then the management accepted that. So I organized the meeting to come first. I think it was like 2 or 3 meetings in Lithuania in total, because first we visited Vilnius, later on we visited Kaunas. I am very appreciative for Invest Lithuania because they supported us and facilitated a lot. And finally, the decision was made that let's choose Lithuania. And from that point, I got a card from the management of Centric to lead the establishment and to build company from 0 to up to 100 people.
Yeah, and that you did in, I believe, 3 years, right? That you built it up to around 100 people.
It was like, I would say that we started establishing, like it was a journey, because at that time in 2017, 18, we started, from scratch. We had no management, no office space, so we should, find the office space, proper space, and Centric did a great job that they committed, and they, from day one, rented office space for more than 50 or 70 people from day one. And we had an agreement at that time that we should achieve approximately 100 people within 3 years. Right. That was kind of the guidance that what is the goal.
Right, and you did that in Kaunas in the end, which is a city in which we both operated
Yeah.
at the time with our own respective tech companies. And the interesting thing actually is that at that point of time, when you talk about enterprise level investments, I would say that everything kind of moved to Vilnius. At that point of time, there was not really the infrastructure yet in Kaunas that could facilitate companies of the size and the competences which were needed for Centric. But still, you didn't only choose Lithuania, but you chose Kaunas. So quite curious, how did that come to be?
I would say at that time it was a strategic choice. I remember as today that we sat with Karim Henkens, current at that time CEO of Centric, and we discussed which location would be best. And I would say, like in 2017-18, Vilnius was more developed. At that time we had Barclays, Western Union, the big enterprise level companies established already. But at the time I saw that within 3 years window in the future, we don't have enterprise level companies in Kaunas. My idea was that Kaunas would be best fit because of that, in terms of investment, because the competition in Vilnius was much higher.
Yeah.
And in Kaunas it was like, I don't remember, to be honest, but I don't believe it was, I think it was like 1 or 2 British companies.
Yeah.
So, and our idea behind was that at that time, many Kaunas IT people worked in Vilnius. Why? Because in Vilnius they could get more challenges within the enterprise level companies, and they couldn't get a challenge in Kaunas. So our idea was like, in a way, to promote and say to Kaunas IT people, come back to Kaunas.
Yeah.
We have a job offer for you. Same salary as in Vilnius, just come back. And it was a success story, to be honest. I think so about the first 20, 30 people that started to work for us. In a way, we had those people that every day driving from Kaunas to Vilnius, it's not a long drive, it's 45 minutes, something like that. But we attracted Kaunas, local people, to come back from Vilnius to Kaunas. We gave them challenging tasks, and how it started.
Yeah, right, got you. And if I say it correctly, the main focus of the Centric IT hub in Kaunas is cloud engineering.
Yeah, correctly.
And that is something that was new at that point of time, or largely new at least in the city of Kaunas. But can you give me a little bit of a perspective of what these people are doing at the Centric Competence Center every day, and where the clients are located that they're working for?
I would say the main strategic mindset we had at that time, it was that we need to build a strong competence within DevOps at that time. And I would say in 2018, DevOps was not something new, but at the same time, in Lithuania, we should build the competence also. So we focused a lot on DevOps as infrastructure, on security, and on service desk.
Right, gotcha.
And we also had a small team of data scientists. So that was the core. Because Centric at that time in Romania, they had, I think, about 300 people of software developers. So we a little bit splitted the mindset of business that in Romania Competence Center we have software developers, and in Lithuania we have all infrastructure related roles.
Right, yeah.
And most of the job, I would say, our customers, they were like in the Netherlands and Belgium. We didn't have any customers locally at that time. So all our customers came from the Centric Netherlands. And most of the, I would say, assignment was that we helped customers in the Netherlands to move software on-premise to the cloud.
Right, yeah.
So that was the main, I would say, the main projects we had.
Yeah, this is software that was developed by Centric, or is this just the application landscape as it was hosted and managed by Centric?
It was both. I think so. It was the need of both, because there was some external clients, but at the same time, Centric had their own software
Yeah.
So we were working with both, but we had also external clients. As I remember at that time, Structon was a part of the clients and so on.
Hey, and how, or what would you describe as the biggest challenges that you faced in setting up, or the biggest hurdles that you had to overcome, or the elements that you had to get in place before you could scale from the initial 20 to 30 people that you hired, coming back from Vilnius to Kaunas to the 100 people that you ultimately reached?
I would say the main challenge, I think, so it's for every company is the same, when you establish a new business entity within a big enterprise, you need to have alignment. You need to have communication, commitment, involve people in different projects together. So I think so in the beginning it was a challenging part that we should, in a way, we should talk with the Centric headquarters to explain why we are here, how we can help, because I think so we needed a little bit education towards our mother company to show our capabilities. Because one thing is when you say we have a infrastructure company with infrastructure that can help, but another thing is when you can explain really in which cases you can help. So I think so the main thing was just mindset, how we can collaborate together without feeling that we are separated.
Yeah, and that's interesting because if you look back also at your journey with Centric now, so what were the biggest kind of cultural differences to overcome or to align on when setting up the business here in Lithuania?
I think so that again it was like some kind of some things that feel that is common sense. It's not common sense for everyone. Yeah. And when you are in one room, 5 managers from different countries, in a way you agree on everything. But when you go out and you start to execute, you can feel that each country or each department is a little bit executing on their own, and I think so that is like it's like again it's about communication. It was needed like do we understand each other on the same page?
Hey, the last 10 years has been a golden era for Lithuania in the sense of the nearshoring centers or the competence centers that have been built here during that period of time, and we ourselves we have been very active in that space. If you look at the environment in Lithuania today, like where do you rank that somewhere in comparison to where it was years ago, and how do you see it develop in the years to come?
So at that time in 2016-18, most of the companies, big companies in Lithuania was enterprise level companies. Barclays, Western Union, Centric came, Hierarchies came, some others. So local Lithuanian IT people were working mostly for international companies. But I would say that in the last 5 years, the dynamics really changed because we have those Lithuanian unicorns companies like NordVPN, Hostinger, Vinted that everyone knows worldwide. And I think so it's a little bit challenging now. It's a challenge for international companies to compete also with the local stars. But at the same time, the challenge is very good because people are learning. They're learning different competences, They brought from, let's say, from Barclays, Centric, they brought some experience that they brought to Lithuanian entities, and now vice versa. They want to grow. So I think so that Lithuanian environment is really good. People have the knowledge, and I think so what we are looking worldwide, it's like companies that are establishing in Lithuania, they're not establishing here entities because of the cheap labor. They're establishing here because of the knowledge, that they have international knowledge. That IT people or support people, they understand the international business way of doing. So in my opinion, that Lithuania has a bright future because of the knowledge. We want to deliver work which is not like support, not just only support like this, but we want to build products. We know how to build products. And thank you. I would say that we should say thank you for Centric, Barclays, Western Union. We learn from them. We'll help local companies to grow. And again, the circle is going around, and I really invite many international companies to join the club because here's happening interesting things, and we have the knowledge. When we have knowledge, we can build great things.
I think it's a great point that you're making actually here, because if I look at the landscape and how it has changed, like you mentioned already a few of those unicorns like Vinted, but also Surfshark and NordVPN, which are operating from here. It's extreme if you look at least at the level of unicorns that there is per capita. So I think Lithuania, not just within Europe but in the world, ranks as one of the highest. So from a country that was seen upon as a nearshoring country or a nearshoring center, it has become actually a technological powerhouse in its own right. And I think it's a very nice development to be seeing.
previously I said I invite business people, business owners to come to Lithuania to feel the vibe. Because when you meet the local companies that work internationally, because most of the companies from Lithuania, they work internationally, and you see the vibe that they are not competing with each other, they are sharing the knowledge. Why? Because they work internationally. So there is no competition in the, let's say, in the market locally. Of course, you compete for labor, you compete for IT developers, but at the same time, you want to help each other to grow on the worldwide class. So I think so there's a lot to learn from Lithuanian IT tech ecosystem for also companies from the Netherlands, let's say Belgium, Norway, whatever. It's a lot to learn because we have now the world-class competences here.
Yeah, what I think is really interesting about what you're saying actually is that I once learned this lesson from one of the investors that actually purchased or acquired one of the companies I was involved with at that point of time. And he said that you should build a company already with the exit in mind, not because you necessarily want to do that exit, but more the way you structure the company, you organize the company, and you run the company on a daily basis. And what you're saying about Lithuania is interesting because the market here is so small, with just 2.8 or 2.9 million people living in the country and not such a large landscape of small to medium-sized enterprises operating here. You kind of have to go abroad already. So I think that if I translate this lesson that I learned when I sold the company, it's kind of like if you want to set up something successfully in Lithuania, you already need to have the international aspect in mind. You need to already have that scalability built in the very foundation of the company that you're building. So I think that's a really interesting insight.
It's very correct said, and I think so most of the people in Lithuania on the tech landscape, they have the mindset, build locally, sell globally. So, again, repeat, but I believe so that it's a lot now to learn from the Lithuanian tech ecosystem. We have the Unicorn Association, which is they're doing really great job here. And for the audience and all the people listening in the Netherlands, I would say, come, check, look, the vibe, the competences, what we're doing here. And as you mentioned, we have the official unicorns in Lithuania. But in my opinion, I know people that they are already unicorns, but they just are owned by private people, private founders. So once again, I'm really proud of what happened in the last 10 to 15 years, let's say. And we did really huge steps in especially 5 to 7 years, I believe. So you can agree with me, I think so.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And when I started Centric in 2018, when we had agreement with Centric that we need to establish the competence center, it was one dynamics. It was like, okay, international company, it's nice. We will, local people wanted to work for international company to get international projects. But now what I see that international companies are learning from the ecosystem here. Yeah. Not about the Lithuanian market, but about the products, how they ship internationally, B2C mindset, marketing, and a lot of different things. So it's a lot of not just about DevOps to DevOps mindset or how we do that, but business to business mindset.
Yeah, I think it's really, accurate what you're saying. What I think the nice side effect of it as well was that where, back in the day, foreign companies were coming here and exciting the Lithuanian people that they could work for a foreign company. What you currently see is that you have such cool companies operating, which are, natively Lithuanian and homegrown here, that you see more and more expats coming to, especially Vilnius every year. So if I look back to when I first came here, let's say 10 years ago, and you had a completely monocultural society and you wouldn't hear any language in the street other than Lithuanian, more or less. And nowadays, if I just go out in Vilnius and you see the amount of languages being spoken, not just talking tourists, but people who actually live here, coming from Italy, coming from Spain, all countries that have been surpassed in terms of economic development by a stretch by Lithuania. It's very interesting to see that the pull factor now also to immigrants, to knowledge workers is coming from these companies to attract foreigners to Lithuania. It's very interesting.
That's interesting change that happened, but again, that change happened not because that we are lucky. The change happened because the tech companies, local plus international companies, and I believe that local companies become strong because of the international company presence here in Lithuania, because we needed to learn like 10 or 15 years ago, local IT tech people should learn from somewhere. That international enterprises that came like 15 years ago to Lithuania, they gave a platform to learn. But at the same time, now, I think so we can give a lot back to the international companies that would like to establish something here to learn from us how we do business internationally. And the tech founder mindset, I think so they are still the curiosity and they want to do things, they're doers. You know, it's a lot about, it's not like small chat, you know, but it's all about how we do things, what we do, no bullshit.
Full circle back again. We started with your curiosity, this conversation, and we're ending with the general curiosity of the Lithuanian people. So thank you very much, Paulius, for the insights you've shared with us today.
Pleasure to meet you again.
Yeah, likewise.
Thank you.